Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to a special edition of the Awdid, A Journey into Mental Health. And you know me, I'm Pertis Williams, your host here at the We Believe Digital Studios in Jackson, Mississippi. Livingston Road. If you guys have any need for media support, whether it be I want to start a podcast, do some commercials, or say come out and shoot your event, give us a call, 1-800-492-5186. You know, I hate to take a long time doing anything. So I'm going to bring my guest on in. Mr. Buxton, my therapist, is here again with me. Mr. Buxton, how we doing today, man? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, man. I'm doing great, Pertis. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, been enjoying it, man. Been enjoying the holiday.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you know, mental health is us.
Yeah, man. It's not going anywhere, Pertis. It's not going anywhere, man. It's not going anywhere.
Holidays is a big time for it.
You would think the holidays are not, but holidays actually, because you'll be really surprised. I think we talked about it sometime in our therapy sessions. That a lot of times, what happens is that the stress comes with our family, and it's kind of crazy, but it's normal. You know what I'm saying? To be around, like your sisters and your brothers and your mom and dad. And sometimes it's been trauma there, sometimes it's been stress there, and sometimes just trying to, new things. You know what I'm saying? It might be a new boyfriend, new wife, or new something like that. And so there's different family dynamics that are interested. So it's a time for mental health all the time. Man. Yeah, it's always there.
And let us not forget the sad parts about the holidays.
Yeah.
Those of us who have lost loved ones, especially in the most recent of years, dealing with those deaths in the holidays are extremely hard.
Yes.
And I know I got a lot of family members who suffered loss in the past few years, and much love to everyone who's going through it, because you get to Thanksgiving.
Right.
And those, it's not the same.
It's not the same. Sometimes it's their first time.
Right. You get to Christmas. Come on now.
Yeah. And then they in a row.
And they back to back.
Right.
And so you see an increase in alcohol and drug use around this time too.
Definitely.
And I'm sure you guys are seeing an increase in therapy around the first of the year.
Right. And then people don't be surprised. A lot of times people commit suicide during this time, going into a new year, thinking about starting it over. Suicide numbers they increase. All of those things. Like I have several friends, some people I work with have lost their loved ones during this time. A good friend of mine, passed right before this holidays, and his family has to they had to spend that time without him, and so that's a tough deal. And so that's a good thing to push. And one of the ways we kind of deal with it is what I tell people when they're dealing with grief is that grief is linear. And what I mean by that is it's not linear. It doesn't mean that you go through the stages of grief all at one time. You might be angry today, you might be sad, you might have blame, you have all these different things. And what I tell people is to allow yourself to feel those feelings. Right. And not run from the feelings, not think anything wrong. Don't let a person tell you, hey, you need to just get over it and be strong. No, if you need to cry, you cry. If you want to be happy, happy. Don't feel guilty for any of those feelings that you're feeling. Like we talked about, and I was talking to them, all those feelings are yours. If you got them, you need to experience them.
You have them for a reason.
For a reason.
You're not supposed to hold them back.
Right.
Release that anger,
but
don't sin, is what the Bible says.
Well, and it also now, this is what I tell people now, when it's prolonged, it's called prolonged grief. Now, when it's a long period of time, if it goes like on for months and months and months and it's deep, that's when you need to see somebody. You don't want to go to a point where it's 6 weeks when you're having this prolonged.
Go see somebody.
See somebody so you can talk about it. See somebody.
Pay attention.
See somebody.
When you ain't doing it, that's why we here. This is real life right here.
Right.
When you and the vulnerability. I don't even like using that word. Right. I like to say it's just the reality of it.
Reality. It's the same way I put it like this. If you cut yourself on the arm, right? You put a Band-Aid on it and it's still bleeding. Okay, you put another Band-Aid on, it's still bleeding. You put another Band-Aid on, it's still bleeding. It's time to go and see somebody. It's different, right? You got to go see somebody who can give you a little help. And that's the same way if your heart is still bleeding, if you're still having these things, go to somebody else who got a little more care. They got a couple more weapons, right?
You didn't have to go to heart, because that was us. But this is my therapist. But you didn't have to do that to me right now. But okay, we there. I did. I was hurt. And, life is what life is. But we also talk all the time about the increase in male suicide. And that doesn't come from just he lost his job.
Right.
And I was watching a guy talk about him coming home, and the most wonderful thing about he said his day was terrible, things going bad, but he said when he got to the door and put the key in, he heard the kids running to the door. And he said the sound of his children running to the door is what he misses the most. And he said no matter how bad his day was, he said those little bitty people would change his feelings.
Change your life.
And he was discussing his divorce, and that's what he missed the most.
Wow.
And that just came to my mind when we were talking about the holidays and the male suicide rate that nobody likes to talk about.
Right.
You know, the help we never get.
Right.
That, to men, is that important thing.
Right.
It ain't about how much the house is and the cars are.
Yeah.
It's how those kids look up to you. And that's what we got to get back to. And that's why I'm with the journey into mental health and trying to push bringing these families back together. And it starts with us dealing with us.
Right.
You know.
We're talking about it. You know, how do we get to this point?
Yeah.
Where we in this thing? And then also the value of it, you know what I'm saying? And so when the marriage, what I always tell, you know, my couples when I do couple counseling is that you always got to go back to the thing. And what I always tell them to do is, you know, tell me your Genesis story. You know, everything has a beginning. Okay. And so, hey, how did y'all get together? What made y'all be together? And saying, and when you hear a couple talk about it, then you see they smile. Okay, how tough it is, how much stuff they into. When they tell their Genesis story, how they met, how they get together, what made you decide that I want to be with this person, to be married to this person? Yeah. They start smiling because that's the story. And I said, when they get through, I say, this is what you need to look at. This is your pearl. And I told him it's a story in the Bible. It talks about a man who found a pearl of great price. When he came back, he sold everything he had for it, and he bought that pearl. And then he also talks about this field, and he found this field, and the field had a treasure in it. I put the stories together, and I told him it's a treasure in the field. I said, well, you ever, you know, I'm from the country, so you ever been in the field in the country? You know, got all kind of stuff. You got horse manure in the field, you got holes in the field. I didn't know that roaches would be in the field. And I was outside one time. I said, Dad, this roaches out. He said, son, where do you think they come from? He said, roaches don't grow up in a house. They go outside. And so he said, but what happened in that field? He found this treasure. And so when he bought that, he went back and bought that field, man, just to get that treasure. He inherited the field. So all that stuff he still got to have. And so what happened when you get married, man, you get the treasure, but the field is all around. Got the barbed wire fence, you got the holes. You might have a little slime pit in there. And so roaches. And so guess what? When you start going through stuff, man, you remember. I used to tell my wife, I said, remember my treasure, baby. Don't look at my field. Remember my treasure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you have to look at. That thing right there, man, is what keeps you in the marriage. And if you don't remember that thing, you'll forget about it because you'll start focusing on the field. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we are. We all of that. We're not just the treasure. We all that other stuff. We the roaches. We the cow manure. We all that stuff because we just products of our environment. But as our nature, man, we all talk about, we selfish, man. So we just start, I don't feel like looking at that right now. I just want to look at this. All I want to talk about is these roaches. All I want to talk about is the cow manure.
Right.
You know, and I forget about it. And guess what? It don't shine as much. And so when we do that Genesis story, we kind of remember why it was there. And the goal is to get back to that. Genesis. Get back to that Genesis, man. I always get to the start, man.
What brought you together?
Yeah, what brought you together? And that's what got to keep you because what happened is we get older. We have more experiences, things that we thought was important. I don't really care about you being cute. I don't care about you being attractive. After a while, I just realized that you didn't put the toilet seat down. I'm tired. It's 27 times you ain't put it down. And so I want to know why. And so what happened, man, is that communication, man. You have to talk about those things to get to that point because that's how we keep families strong. You know, it's like a business, right? If we have a business, if we never look at why the business is failing, everybody we doing every other thing. Why is the problem? Why are the numbers up? Why are the numbers down? Yeah, we're getting people in. It's the same with relationship.
And the economy changes sometimes.
Up and down, right?
Man, that's a good analogy. Yeah. When you talk about business, the first thing that hit my mind was like, remember when everything was snail mail, as we called it, and we were getting coupons in the mail, and then the internet started coming. We started getting emails, and a lot of companies fell out of business. Right. They went out of business because they refused
to what?
To go to the internet.
To change.
They refused to change. And so a marriage that is old school and all this new technology shows up and we refuse to change, what happens to the marriage.
Right. Well, we don't recognize it.
You know,
or don't feel a need to change.
That one.
And a lot of times it's this. But you think about it, you change the things that you like or are important to you now were not important to you when you was 20, 30 years old.
Right.
And so you got to realize that we go through seasons. The world changes.
That is true.
And guess what? We change. We got a coat when it's a little cooler. You know what I'm saying? Take off the coat when it's a little hot. So why don't we think that our marriage or our relationship is not going to change?
I don't know. I think we know it's changing. Mm-hmm. And instead of us accepting the changes, mm-hmm. It's a season, mm-hmm. and you got to buy a new coat. You don't get to keep these same clothes you're wearing. Mm-hmm. You have to adjust mm-hmm. to the new season. Mm-hmm. I don't think we like the adjustment part. Mm-hmm. We like that stability, that mm-hmm. same thing every morning. I can depend on this every day. Mm-hmm. And when that change started happening, we start fighting growth.
You know what that reminds me of? Think about a child when a child is growing. Remember when you was young, you was growing? Mm-hmm. Your bones be hurting. Get up and my leg hurt, my knees hurt. She's like, baby, them just growing pains. You want to be taller, you're going to have to deal with the pain, the struggle, man. The struggle we don't want, and we don't want growth. And what happens, we stay where we at. And so now, I'm in this place, I'm trying to grow, and my spouse is not growing. We need to grow together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we need to realize that, hey, it's growth comes in there. Things that were important to me, maybe not. And we discuss it and we remember. And we be like, hey, why is it worth me changing? I don't know, I want to change. Then I think about my treasure. Is that worth me changing for my treasure? So if it is, then I do it. You know what I'm saying? If it's not hurting me, we grow together. And that's, you watch a couples that stay long periods of time. If they're a thriving couple, not the one who just surviving, a thriving couple, they grow together. Right. They learn together. They grow together. They do things together. They appreciate those different things and those different chapters.
And the changes are good.
Yeah. And they see, and we talk about it, and we discuss, you know what I'm saying? And we see, and we let them know, hey, I'm not changing because I'm trying to leave you. I'm changing because I'm growing. I'm trying to.
That one right there.
And I think it's discussing.
Man, I think that's one of the most important parts, man. I think sometimes we get the fear that they going to leave us.
Right.
Because they growing in a direction we didn't see when we first got to that Genesis, as you say.
Right.
We were in Genesis, and they were this person, and I knew them. And now they have this new interest.
Right.
And that new interest is taking them in a whole new direction. Mm-hmm. They ain't left you. They ain't went nowhere.
Right.
They still got you. They still depending on you to help them get to this new thing that they trying to get to.
Right.
Because that's where God guided them.
Right.
I think we forget sometimes God will put something in you or remind you of who you are, even though you haven't been doing it.
Right.
You haven't been doing what you skilled at.
Right.
You supposed to be your mission, so to speak. Because you've been working on this job. You've been working on this job. You've been doing this, trying to make a living in this world.
Right.
So your mission is throwed.
Well, you're unsatisfied. And then you realize, guess what? I'm unsatisfied now. And all of a sudden, because we get used to normal. Because you got something in you that just keep on, hey, I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. I need to do this thing. I need to do this podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need to do this growth. I need to step out and get my own business. You know what I'm saying?
When you get your partner,
yeah,
that's when God says two can agree.
Right.
And start moving you in those directions.
Right.
And that's what I noticed when those two people come together. Your life, after that honeymoon phase, God's going to push you where you're supposed to go.
Stretches you.
It's going to be like,
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's what separates.
Because we don't talk about it. And you're right. But stretching is growth, man. We gotta be willing to stretch. And what you're saying is, so that's why couples have to talk, man. It's more than just, hey, we like each other. And we so caught up in this physical stuff that's what it's about. But it's not, because that only lasts so long. I was telling one of my guys before I even became a counselor, I said, you put the physical part of relationship. I said, if that's a small percentage of your relationship. You need to like that person. You need to understand. Y'all need to say, hey, which way am I going? Which way are we going with life? How do you see life? I see life as just kind of sitting and chilling, getting off work and doing that. That's fine. I see life as doing this. I want to go out there and I want to do these other things. Neither way are wrong. But we need to talk about it so I know that, hey, man, I don't want to just do this. I want to thrive in life. Well, I want to have these things. I want our kids to do these certain things. And then y'all kind of talk about it, because what happened is a difference between we're dating and, hey, this is our life together. Right. And when it comes to our life together, we need to share, because we're business partners, basically. We
are business partners. That's not a kind of. It is a serious deal.
Yeah.
And again, back to the business part about it, I noticed that most of the relationships that are, couples, because, you talk to people. It's like, we're doing good. The money's good. We're both working. We came together, 2 income, and we got all this momentum. And then all of a sudden they have a problem, and the money will come down a little bit. Right. It's time to break up now. Yeah. Instead of seeing it as, no, it's time to manage better now. Now, quit eating out. Let's cook at home. Maybe we need to buy a new car in 6 months instead of 1 month. Maybe we need to make some adjustments. And then you take that little dip and nothing goes down completely, right, unless you give up. You're going to turn. Right. And just like the market, you're going to start going back up again. And you'll pass where you previously were. Right. And nobody wants to wait for that dip.
The dip to come, right.
No, I mean, they want to get out of there in the dip.
As soon as possible.
The dip is here.
But what are you learning?
Out.
What do you learn in the dip? You learn what you're made of, man.
You really do.
And really what it is as long as we're in agreement, this is what I always tell my couples, is that you always got to remember we team. Like, my name is Buxton. I always tell my wife, we team Buxton. At the end of the day, as long as we together, everything else don't matter. Right. You know what I'm saying? But when we apart, then things gonna have a problem. We realize that we're in a team. It don't matter if we in a tent. It don't matter if we slept on a pallet. I remember we grew up. When we first got married, our kids had a bed. We was on a pallet one time because our bed was messed up. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter.
Can't do that no more now.
Yeah, but if two agree, man,
that's real love.
That's what about talk about agreement. That's why I talk about covenant. If two agree,
man,
it is such a powerful thing when two people are in agreement, because when y'all in agreement, it don't really matter. You know what I'm saying? And y'all can do whatever. Hey, guess what? I remember me and my wife was going back to school. I worked great. She went to school. I did. How I ended up getting my going back to school was because I actually helped my wife with her papers. Yeah. I would help her. She was like, I'm tired. I can't do these papers. And I said, well, shoot, how can we trying to get this extra money? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we're going to do these papers. And so I would do them. And she said, baby, you should go to school. You write these papers. You getting A's. I said, I got an A on papers. She said, yeah. I said, well, let me think about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I said, well, baby, I don't like doing anything. I said, all I like doing, I'm working in the casino business, is talking to these guys. I said, I sit there and I got these guys in valet and they come in and we sit there and talk about man stuff. And I said, they be like, ain't nobody never talked to me about no real man stuff. Ain't nobody told me. And I would sit there and them guys would be, and I would be telling them the truth, and I would telling them, I said, and they be like, well, and they didn't like it, but then they still kept coming back. And I said, that's the only thing I like. I said, she said, well, maybe you need to try counseling. I said, well, counseling make no money. I don't do no counseling. You know what I'm saying? And after a while, it just came in my heart. But it started with me being in agreement with my wife, man, and me and watching her go to school and me helping her. And then she turned around and helped me, and we just kind of went back, and we was in our 30s. And we went back to school, man, and we started going back to school. And that's why I tell people, you never see how people got to that position. Right. But it's because we was in agreement. You know what I'm saying? We both wanted something, but I was still trying to help her. Hey, this is your dream. This is your thing. Let's work it.
Well, it's a lot of magic in that to agree. It's biblical. Yeah. And I always say, if you read that Bible, they're not just telling you about what these people went through and you read the story like that. They're giving you some real good information that if practiced, you can prove it works. Right. Because family and agreement, I keep trying to tell people, have you ever noticed that all the billionaires are married? Why do you think that is? It's because two agree. Right. I got a dream, you support the dream. I'm going to get there as long as I'm moving in that direction and I got that support. That's how that works. It's so easy. You got to excuse me doing construction around here, so you might hear a voice or two. Yeah. But just kind of give me a minute. Hey, we filming. Excuse us, we filming. But again, just the two agreement part. People don't really understand it, right? Because they are always thinking about self. I need to, my motivation, my individuality, and that's what America try to teach you by telling you independent all the time, calling you independent. That's a seed planted, right, to separate you from everything else.
Why did that come about? What do you think that came from?
Well, personally, now we finna go into some history. Yeah, so just kind of get to that, because we talk about being aware, and we realize how it started, and then how it kind of kept on. What got the momentum behind? Why did it continue after there was no need for it anymore? I'm gonna say it was a design, and this is just going back to my nerd self studying. Okay. I actually posted something about this today. this morning about the burning of books.
Okay.
You know, people will say the Bible is this book and you're not supposed to change it. But then at the same time, they show you we removed 12 to 14 books. So if I remove 12 to 14 books, but then I tell you you can't change nothing in this book, isn't that an oxymoron? Is that the right word? That's like, don't do this, but then you do it. Then you tell you can't do it. I'm like, seriously? So there's no discernment being used today. So if I'm looking at the history of the world and I'm looking at this burning of books too, then to me, history is skewed. It's no question about it. I don't have to ask anybody. If you were burning books at any time, which books do you think they burned and which books do you think they kept?
So the books is the reason why the individualism came in?
Well, I think they used the books to brainwash, so to speak. So instead of us learning how important unity is, how strong we are as a people, how we were able to build pyramids, instead of teaching us that, they taught us about individuality, the United States of America, an independent country, how we fought to separate from Britain, and none of the things over here are Great Britain now. But if you learn history, everything over here is kind of Great Britain style. From the way we monetized everything, the way the buildings are actually designed and developed. So it's not like England is not here. It's just that they told you this. So when you start to look at everything they tell you and you say, everything you telling me is contradicted by your own history, then that's where we have to start using more discernment, in my opinion. We have to start questioning everything. We have to start reevaluating. And more importantly, we have to start talking to our elders. And when you talk to the elders, the story is really different because most of the people I know 70 or plus have a other parent or a grandparent that was Native American. It's like not even a question. And that's white or black, light skin or dark skin. It's like Native American great grandmama, Native American grandmother, Native American mother, you know, one of the Mr. Garrett. So how close are we to the truth? Depends on how close you are to your elders, because your history, according to the book burnings, tells me they used it to divide us so that they can keep us conquered. And it wasn't a, let me tell you about divide and conquer. No, it was a, let me tell you what we're doing to you as we're doing it, because that's exactly what I see. And so whether it be the marriage, the family being divided, us being divided as color, or us being divided in a class, whether, you know, poor and rich, it's all about dividing so that a certain group of people can maintain power. And those people don't even have good ideas. So the world is going backwards because we're not building pyramids anymore. We're building things that tear up and are easily replaced. So,
when did that start? When do you think that time started? That's
according to the books, 1945-ish.
You know, I just wanted to, like I said, when I look at history, I look at, like, you know, the individualism, when it became that way. You know, when did it start becoming that way? And when it, you know, when it go from being so many married couples to being someone individual. And as I've getting old,
typewriters and TV.
Yeah, as I got older, I see that. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of that has to do with different things. You know what I'm saying? You had the things that came out the civil rights movement. People were cold. At the civil rights movement, we had a lot more congruity in the community. And as things, you can say, kind of like as we said we overcame, then these things became more independent. We became more like America. You know what I'm saying? So it became more about who we were. And then you have things like those, we talk about those wars. You had those different wars. Not only the wars in Vietnam, but also, like I said, a war on drugs, all these things like that. Wars always break up families. And it usually hurts the men because who goes to war? Men go off to war. And what happened, you have more individual families, and you have these families where the women had to come in and be this strong figure in order to be this missing man. And so what happened is that we always talk about our experience, right? So my daughter and my son grows up with a single mom household. and they think this is normal because this is how they grew up.
Right.
So what happened? We grow up what we see. You know what I'm saying? And so it always go back to this story. I remember thinking about the day when I was in class and I was working with these young students. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A little girl, little guy. They ain't having a conversation, unaware that I'm listening to. And the little guy said, when you grow up, he said he asked this young lady, and they was about 8 years old, 10 years old. He said, are you gonna be a baby's mom or you gonna be a wife? And she said, she thought about it. And she sat there for a minute and I watched her, man. And she said, I think I'm gonna be a baby's mom. He was like, cool. He said, cause I'm gonna have me some kids. He said, I'm gonna love my kids, but I ain't gonna love my wife and the girl. He said, I don't love no girl. And I thought about it and I was like, man, it broke my heart, but I was like, this is their experience. She doesn't know anybody in her family. In around her, man, there's a wife. She knows baby mothers. Like I said, he knows his guys that he's learned, his brother has learned over time that he need to love his kids. So he's like, hey, so what he told him, what he knew, hey man, you love your kids. You don't love no woman though, but you love your kids. And so he's like that, man, I'm gonna love my kids. But it's reality. The reality was so strong that I just sat there and took it in and I was like, man, that's their experience. Yeah. So they ate. And she was like, she thought for a minute. And that's what Gabby, she thought for a minute. She said, I guess I'm gonna be a baby's mom. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the reality is that, hey, this is what I've seen. Right. You know what I'm saying? This is what I know. It's not, hey, y'all bad, you wrong, you need to be a wife. You need to be a what you call. Hey, this is what he thinking is good. This is what she thinking is good.
But if that's what we teach them, that's what they know.
That's what you know. And we talk about we are product Pertis of what we've seen, man. And if we don't do anything to change that, we can sit there and say, oh, that's just that. No, we need to understand that it's the same way like in counseling. If I'm in an abusive relationship all my life, and this is what I know is normal, and I asked my mom about it, and I said, why do you stay with dad and dad beats you? Your dad loves me. So what do I put in my mind? My dad loves me even though he beats me. So when I get in a relationship with this other person and they don't beat me, then I don't think they love me.
Man, dude, I had a girl tell me that.
I've had it happen to me.
I mean, she like straight face told me, I don't think a man loved me unless he hit me.
I've had it happen to me.
I was really, really shocked.
Where did it come from? Where did it come from, man?
Man,
that's what trauma.
We're gonna have to take a break and pay a bill or something, but we're gonna come back with this one here because man, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. When she told me that, it blew my mind. But now you say you've heard the same thing.
Yeah, I had the same thing when I was growing up.
So we not crazy. This is therapy, and we ain't crazy. But we're gonna run this commercial real quick and pay these bills, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Socrates Garrett ENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. Socrates Garrett ENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.Dot grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Awdid with a special edition mental journey into mental health with my I should start calling you co-host, Werner Buxton, my therapist. We are here, you know me, I'm not going to keep us out of here too long. Right before we went to break, but hold up. We Believe Digital Studios, Jackson, Mississippi, Livingston Road. If you need any media assistance, 492-5186. You need a commercial shot? You want to do a podcast? You want us to come out and film your event? Hey, give us a call. Again, that number, 1-800-492-5186. Now, let's get back down to mental health business up in here, Warner. We were just talking about, before we went to break, an experience it looks like both of us have had, where we ran into young ladies who are assuming been brought up in an environment where they associate love with domestic violence.
Right.
Dude, let me tell you something I've been thinking associated since when I heard that. And I mean, I heard that back in probably 97, 98 or something. But what it did, it made me start thinking, we always go to jail when we have a domestic violence problem. It's the man who go to jail. You go to jail, you get arrested. A lot of times we lose our jobs.
Yeah.
And then we can't find a job after that because now we got a record for domestic violence. And who is mostly in human resource? Women. No woman is going to hire a man, domestic violence. Your resume don't even get seen. So a lot of times when we out here trying to find a job, baby, I'm trying to find a job. Baby, I'm looking for something better. You can't get it because of that domestic violence problem that's on your record. And like we just said, a lot of women don't think you love them unless you hit them. And then when you hit them, I've never hit a woman. I've only hit men. How hard am I supposed to hit her? I don't have a woman key.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a woman speed. You know, none of this says woman.
Right.
I'm not a pimp. I don't slap women.
Yeah.
So none of me says this is how hard you hit her.
Yeah.
None of me says that.
Right.
So I'm looking at a lot of the times, and I mean, man, we have been unable to get better jobs, to make more money, to take care of our families, because too many of us have been associated with love and domestic violence are the same thing.
The trauma, man. It's such a generational traumatic thing, and it's so normal that we don't realize how normal it is. And I'll tell you how recent it was. Me and my wife was we was in a store. I think she was in Big Lots getting some. My mom was a teacher, so she always looking at Big Lots. So she in Big Lots. I'm in the car sitting down. There's this young couple, cute little couple, man, cute little girl, cute little guy. They sitting in the couple, and the guy has a cell phone, and like the little girl, she reached over to get his cell phone, and he's like, no, you kind of like pull back or something like that. And they look at him, girl, so I look up and look at him. And so she gets the phone and she grabs it, and I keep seeing her take her finger and just poke him in the head like this. And she poking him all in the face, and she talking, and he getting his smile and they hug each other, and she gets up in his. And I was like, man, she is hitting him. She's hitting him. I said, she should not be hitting him like that. I said, because that is a dangerous situation. And after a while, he kind of grabbed her, and then she kind of gets, even though she kind of get, it's a smile she has when he kind of grabs her. It's like, hey, it's like, he's showing me that I'm important. And so a lot of times, man, people don't understand that. I had a couple the same way, and she was on the phone, and she was like, yeah, when my boyfriend doesn't understand, I poke him, and I hit him inside his head, and I slap him. I said, that's domestic violence. She's like, no. I said, no, that's abuse. And she kept on saying, no. She said, but he a master. Look, that is abuse. I said, if you turn around, he was doing that same thing to you. I said, he will go to jail. I said, you cannot do that to a person that you care about, because he's not listening or giving you the response you want to. You cannot do it. And she kept on saying no, and I said, no. I said, you are abusing him. And so it took me about the 5 or 6 times I said it to her, do it. And I talked to a lady that has a master's degree in counseling. But
say who?
Yes, it doesn't matter.
Wait a minute.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, she's a master's degree in counseling. Yeah.
And what?
Yes, and she was abusive because it does not matter.
Counseling?
In counseling. Yes.
Counseling of what?
Counseling. I don't know. Mental health, whatever. It ain't too many you can have. Mental health is mental. All of them know.
What?
All of them know. And so it shows you that it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
We don't talk about the fact that
you
cannot do that. You can't put your hands on anybody. And so what I tell guys, I say, if a lady puts her hands on you, you need to get away from her.
You do.
Same way we tell a lady this. I said, because what'll happen if you turn around and do that same thing that she's doing to you, you'll be in trouble. And so that's what we talk about. Talk about anger. We talk about those things. Same way it's in the news now about anger, how I'm dealing with anger with the Jonathan Majors guy. You know what I'm saying, with that kind of stuff like that, which is a whole big can of worms. You know, Jonathan Majors, the guy that was on the Creed movie. You know, him and his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, man,
so,
that's a crazy story though.
Yeah, but
since you brought it up, I just want to ask you something about that. They said he forcefully put her in the car.
Yeah, but it's a whole. I think it's his history. He has a history of something.
But you punishing him on his history,
yeah,
or the trying to get away from her.
I said it was a more film that they didn't show, so I don't know. But all I'm saying is,
I'm not gonna get in that.
But we talk about this. The part that's important is this here.
Yeah.
If you got a history of putting my hands on you,
touching
me,
right?
You have to. Hey, it can always go bad.
Yeah.
And like you said, and so you have to really be careful. And so we don't talk about men in domestic violence. Somebody talk about that, they say, "Oh, you soft man. You don't put talk about that, but you should better take a couple of licks."
No, you ain't.
Because what I found out too is that licks like that can learn. And this is what it is. It's a release. This is what we learned about even guys that hit women. Okay, when a guy hits a woman, he gets a release. And so what I do with a release, okay, talk about neural pathways, get into the science part about that. Any pathway that I create, it's a pathway that makes me feel good. It releases. So in my brain, I realized that when I hit somebody, when I hit something, it kind of leaves me. Okay, and so now this is trained in my body. So if a man, like I said, that's why they said if a man hit you one time, he'll hit you again. Because he's already released like that. So he will continue to hit you. You know what I'm saying? So once they hit you, same way with a lady. So if a lady hits me,
they get away with
it. She has this release. So she's going to continue to hit you.
And that is,
and until I learn that I can't do that. So I need some counseling.
So how do you, so somebody hit you and you hit them back, that's the way you stop them from hitting you. So that's the change. That's changes that brain.
So what happened with the police though?
But then you're going to jail.
So what the police gonna do? He's gonna say, hey, so it's assault on both of y'all.
Right.
So wrong is wrong. Somebody shoot my tire, I don't get to shoot their tire.
And so now we in the system, and now we hurting the family because instead of going to counseling, we went to fighting.
Right. And so then guess what? Who else is it hurting? What about the little boy and the little girl?
Right.
So when they seeing this now, mom and dad, they fighting. And guess what? This is my normal now.
Well, I'm just. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. When I heard that back in the '90s, I was out of there.
Yeah,
it was like
it's scary, man.
I'm out of here.
It's a scary deal.
Yeah.
When that girl told me that when I was growing up, she was like, "Hey, if a guy hit you, he don't love you," and I was like, "Well, I don't know where you got that from." I'm young. I wasn't a counselor then. I was like, "That is crazy. You're crazy."
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been taught something different.
Yeah. But you think about the fact that to be that young or be a teenager or whatever like that, and to think that's okay. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that's something, and sometimes it's passed on.
Man.
Because somebody who I care about, somebody that I know, my mom says, hey, Daddy loves me. He hits me because he loves me. He's not nothing wrong with Daddy. He loves me. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to explain why I'm still here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now in my head, I put this thing, I created this pathway. Love hurts. Love hurts. But it's okay for that.
Yeah, I totally disagree with that. I say love hugs.
Shouldn't hurt, man.
Anger hurts, rage, but again, like you say, create those pathways when you do something and you get that reward of dopamine, I'm assuming it's a release.
It's release.
I'm like, I guess I'm going to thank God again for the training. Yeah. I hit a wall one time and it hurt the wall.
Hurt your hand. Well,
it didn't hurt my hand as much as it hurt the wall because you got to repair these things.
Yeah.
And so my release costs money. So it trained me to quit hitting stuff.
Yeah.
So and I remember when that happened, I'm like, all right, this is a pivotal moment for me. It's remembering costing yourself money for doing something stupid.
It's a price.
So fast forward, and I mean, we're going to just disregard all the drinking and drugs that were also detrimental to my life.
Right.
I didn't break anything.
Okay.
And I thought about it. When my younger brother died, I was like, I'm thinking this in my head. I'm finna tear up some stuff. I'm angry. And as I'm sitting there thinking about this conscious me thinking like, I'm angry and I'm finna tear up some stuff, but then I'm gonna have to replace all this stuff, and that don't make a lot of sense if I do this. And it was back from that pathway, I'm assuming. From back when I had to fix that wall. Right. Came back at that time like, your brother's gone. Right. You tearing up all your shit ain't going to help that.
Rational thinking, man. You went to a rational instead of impulsive.
Right.
Impulsive, you would have just did it. Rational, you like, hey, it's a price I pay from that. But I tell you about, even when you saying that, it kind of brought me back to a time when I was working with the kids. I learned so much. I didn't want to do the kids thing, but I learned so much for working with them. But I was reading this book about this, and this lady, I can't remember her name. Her name was Satire, and she worked with children, and she talked about the importance of having a good touch. And she said a lot of kids hadn't had an experience of good touch. And me working with my kids, and the kids I work with were mainly, black kids, African American children. And so I'm working with them in the school. And so what happened, I said, I'm gonna try this out. So when I would see the little kids in my classroom, every day I would see the little boys and I would take their hand and I put on their head. And some of the kids, they would jig back like that, or they would look like that. They thought I was gonna hit them. Some of the kids, you know what I'm saying, they look funny. But over time I would sit them on, I put my hand on their head. Hey man, how you doing today? How was your day? You know what I'm saying? They'd look at me. They was like, nobody ever asked me how my day was, and so they'd tell me how their day was. And so every day, man, I would raise my hand and I put on their head. And so what happened is over time, what happened, Pertis, is that I would see some of the kids and I wouldn't put my hand on their head, and they would grab my hand and they would put my hand on their head, man. And they'll say, Mr. Warner, how your day was? They call Mr. B, how your day was? And I was like, man, I didn't realize how important it was, because sometimes I'll put my hand on their head and they were like, oh, and they look like this, and I say, it's okay. And I want them to let them know that a black male, can touch you and they not be sexual and they not be violent and not be violent. You know what I'm saying? And so what happened, man, they learned so much, man, they just touched. And I remember seeing them and they would come and ask me, Mr. Warner, Mr. B, how your day was? Or and they put my hand on their head, man. And I was just like, it's just something, man. It's just something.
It reminds me of something you were telling me in one of our other sessions that, it's not a on TV session, but one of our sessions, and I think it was related to working with older gentlemen and how they never heard somebody say they love you, and give them a hug or something, and it just gets me to thinking, how often we go through life, and as men, we never hear "I love you" or hear somebody say "I appreciate you." Anything complimentary, unless it's a holiday, you on the way to a funeral, you know what I'm saying? You got your suit on the way to a funeral. Oh, you look sharp. You get deaths, weddings, and fancy parties to hear compliments. The rest of the time, it's you need to be working, paid for this, go, hurry. But now, on the other side of that, the ladies, if you don't compliment, you hate women. You don't like us. You a misogynist. I gotta stroke you all the time with compliments just so your day will go good. Now, none of that comes back my way. And I'm like, we don't really think about it, but that's needed. You need to feel good from your partner. Your partner need to know that you appreciate them. Hey, you looking good today. How your day going? I love you. These words matter, and that needs to come back this way too. Right. He ain't just a paying the bills, fixing stuff guy. They don't need us until something broke.
We talk about it. Man. You got to communicate it. And I talk to couples about communicating that. Hey, you need to tell people like, well, they should know, they should say, sometimes, guess what? My mom didn't give compliments out. My dad, and so even though my mom did, so me and my wife, I compliment her because that's how my mom did. Her mama didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So she didn't know that. So I'm also understanding that that's not natural to her. So I tell her, hey, I need these things. I need you to tell me that I look good today. I need you to tell me. So I won't tell you somebody at work did. This is a good example. When if your spouse comes home and they always telling you about somebody telling them they look nice or something like that means that they need that.
Don't you ever do that on the reverse. Just FYI, I've done it. Don't never do that. It's a terrible idea to say that some other woman think you cute.
You don't do that. Mm-hmm. But see, but when your spouse is telling you that, they're usually telling you that they need that. They have a desire to know that they look nice.
I didn't think I needed it, but it did feel good to see it. And I don't know.
But you got to communicate it.
I don't communicate that is what I'm trying to
say. but you need to. We need to. We need to be close enough to be able to talk. And if we can't, we need to talk about why we can't talk about this stuff. Because that's real closeness, man. Real closeness is being able to have hard conversations with your spouse.
Yeah, and
that's the thing.
I think you got to have a hard conversation, but you also got to have the hard skin during the conversation and a seeking of understanding.
Right.
You know, like if you having a serious heart to heart with your spouse and they really honest, like stupid honest, like me, like I'm dumb, ain't got no sense. I ain't had a lot of relationships. I don't know what to say, when not to say it. I'm just telling you the truth.
Okay.
And the truth will set you free. Even in a relationship, it sets you free from them because they'll take it the wrong way.
Right.
You know. So
Yeah.
I'm the stupid one, or let's say lack of ignorance.
Well, you're just honest. You sometimes it can be harshly honest. You know, but there's nothing wrong with it. It is okay. So
I'm thinking we bringing each other closer. No, you're not.
You should be. You know, but guess what? We always have to be aware that the other person has a different experience. They won't have a different experience for you. But it's like this. When you was talking, I got a picture of like a house in my head. So a house that has a foundation problem. You call in a person that's an expert, and they say, "Hey, look, we got to talk about this." You talk about what? Hey, you're not gonna want to hear this thing, but you got foundation problems. What are you talking about? Foundation problem. I'm talking about $30,000 to $40,000. My house cost $50,000. But no, so if you want to keep this house,
right,
we're gonna have to work on the foundation. And even though that's a hard conversation, and I really don't want to hear it, I can ignore it. And guess what? Then my structure of my house can fall in up on me. Right. And so when relationship is like that, man, it's only built on the foundation. And the foundation is truth. The foundation is, hey, I need to be able to talk about things that's going on, and we need to be honest with each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that we can work on the house. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's the same way when it's infidelity in a relationship. I was talking to people about that. I was like, the only way, I said, the house is not secure. Okay, y'all saying we want to stay together. I want to be in this relationship. I want to work. Okay, so we need to find out how our house became unsecure and what do we do to secure it back up. And that's why we have all these other issues.
You say that's infidelity conversation?
Oh man, it's
secure.
It's not secure because
a burglar coming in here.
Somebody a burglar. They came in the house.
Yeah.
And so we need to find out where
where
was the cracks. But I'm talking about it's such. If you look at it, and so what happened?
Who left the doors open?
And where were the doors on both sides? Well, you know what I'm saying? Well, I just cracked my window. Yeah, but it's a little part. And so we got to talk about both people part.
Right.
And then we also got to talk about. And a lot of times people are like, well, I can't trust. I said, yeah, because the house ain't secure. A lot of times the man or the woman wants to say, well, they just need to get over it. I was like, the house ain't secure. I said, somebody break into my house, I'm going to be sitting in there with my gun for about 3 or 4 weeks. They might not even come back. And so that's why that person don't want to leave you.
Right.
I said, because it's a lot of other factors.
Right.
You know, and that's that thing is that restitution has to be paid, man. It's a process.
That's the therapist talking, y'all. That ain't me.
But that's real.
And that's the things I think we got to start looking at more going forward as couples, you know, trying to make these things work. Yeah. I was not so much in a deep conversation, but kind of like talking to myself, posting on Instagram. Okay. So that's kind of like me in conversation with the world. Yeah. It's the way I see it. So I'm trying to tell the world, look here, world. A lot of times what we're dealing with is not so much we don't care about the person we with. Mm-hmm. We fighting every day with this world. Uh-huh. And unfortunately, we do not live in a country where people dress, how do you say, I'm not going to say appropriately. Modestly. Thank you for that big word. Okay. Modestly, we have show and tell in the United States. Okay. So when you leave in the house, you got a spouse, you try to do your best, be your best. It's a gang of temptations out here. It's a fight to get home every day safely. And it's not something that I say, oh, anybody can be. I've seen a lot of temptation. And the craziest thing is when you are married, it's as if the evil in a woman come out to see if I can break up that marriage. Now, and for some strange reason, if you're a married man and you're not a cheater, it's even twice as hard to convince your wife that you're not. Okay. You know, it's almost as if everybody do it is the new normal. So a good man, I don't even think women like good men. I think they prefer bad men. And that's why men have become bad men. It's kind of like back in the days, you remember, the Nissan trucks, low riders, boom in them, the bass. The women liked those trucks. Okay. So every man tried to get one. Okay. Every woman liked bass. I had a girl who was in school to be a damn doctor tell me the reason she got her first baby. Because he had boom in the truck. Dude, that is why she got with him. He had the boom in the truck. Nothing else. It wasn't, he was intelligent, he was smart, he was this, boom in the truck. So the standards for women, that's what we trying to go after. We trying to meet that standard, no matter how low it is. Okay. No matter how, it can be low as get out. But that's the one she want, that's where we going. From the get Jordans, sagging pants, that's what women like. So the good guy, he lame. That's what I hear that. They tell me that. The good guy lame. So what we dealing with out here, trying to find modesty in the land of who knows what this is, man. I feel sorry for people with kids.
Who
your kids gonna date?
Question, man. My question is always this here.
Who your kids gonna date?
It's always why, man. That's my thing. And so the question go back to why, man.
Why what?
Why all that?
Why all that?
Why the ladies feel like they have to dress like that? Why the guys feel like they have to? Why the guys feel like they have to conform? Because it's still conformity. It is. It's still. Hey, why can't we wait? You know what I'm saying? Why do we feel like we have to be in a relationship right now? Yeah. Okay, it might be because I'm not saying that I do all these things. I'm just saying we always kind of get to the thing. Sometimes we got to have these conversations with ourselves, man, and see why. Why do I do it, and then get mad with the product that is presented after that? This is what I chose. I had a friend that was a guy, and he was mad about his girl acting crazy. Guys always tell me about this. My girl is crazy. My girl is crazy. I was like, when you met her, how was she? All I've seen was her body, how she made. I ain't gonna say what he said, but I said, she still got that part that you was attracted to. I said, but was she like this before you met? Yeah, man, but I didn't care about it then. I said, yeah, but you chose that. I'm saying, so you got to be understanding what your consequences and your choices. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want a bad boy, or he's this and that. I said, yeah, but if everybody want a guy that's 6'6", dark skin, so it's not. That's a perfect person or something like this, and so. Guess what? Everybody want that same thing. Do you think he has more opportunities now? So you know what? When I date this guy, guess what? Everybody else wants to date. I had my son. I remember my son was young, and he was dating this really attractive girl. Yeah. I said, this is what you got to understand, man. She's very attractive. So guess what? She's attracted to the policeman, the pastor, the waterman. I said the rich man, the older rich man, the old man who got a car, the old man got something. So you got to understand, if you're not securing yourself, all these guys are gonna still shoot their shot at this girl because they know she looks this way, and they care nothing about you.
Nothing.
So you have to be secure in yourself. And it's not saying don't date beautiful women, but just understand that it's a price that you pay with that certain things. And so it's about being aware, man. So if I'm gonna be aware that, it's like a guy that one of my friends, a guy I know, he had some children about this girl that used to dance. She was a dance for gentlemen. I'll say it that way. And he had a problem with it. I was like, you got to understand, when you talk to her, she was dancing for gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? So don't be mad at her now. You talking about you can't stand. You start talking to her when she was dancing for gentlemen. Don't get mad because that's her past. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
did y'all talk about her one day quitting?
Yeah.
Or
you give her opportunity? Yeah.
You were just in it to win it, and again,
take responsibility. Man.
Stupid is as stupid does. Let's just
don't get mad when things are not and you chose, man. It's still a choice, and we gotta be aware that can I wait? And that's the thing about it. I can't wait, and then I want person to change, but I haven't changed, man. I haven't did any of these things. Yeah. And it's tough, and we're in a world that's flawed, man. We got flawed people in the world that's flawed, and a lot of times they look like they got it together, but guess what? We're the product of our environment, man. We got all these other things in us that tell us what success is, what's important, what relationship is.
Did you see my video today?
I didn't see it, man.
I just talked about that, man. We got the world telling us what success is. Yeah. The world telling us what's valuable.
What's valuable?
This here is more valuable than this here.
Right.
And who's to say?
Right.
Because neither one of these are edible.
Right.
So you have to teach us what's valuable.
What's your value? What are your values?
And what we lost, what you said, what are your values?
What are your values?
We lost how important each other is.
Right.
That's what I think they did with that individuality, is they separated us into individuals, told us we were independent.
Don't need anybody.
and don't need nobody.
And that's why
vets,
other countries do so much better. That's why China, because they have a system, man, where they work with each other,
right?
And they have value because it's like an independent person. You watch a job about wealth. If I work for somebody, I only can make so much money. Okay, if I have an independent, you got your own business, you can make money, but you still limited. Yeah. But if I go in there and I have people that work for me and I reproduce myself, I have more
working.
Income. It's the same way with a family, man. If I'm by myself, I can't do anything. My value is there. When I die, it goes.
You know that's actually a law too, and a lot of people don't know it. Is if you want to get wealthy, you have to bring people with you.
Have to.
You know what I'm saying? I can't do everything myself. I can try,
right?
And it'll take me 50 times longer to do these 50 different tasks.
And then I'm wearing myself out too.
And I'm wearing myself out. Stress.
I do hair. I'm good at it. I make good money, but I only do hair. I don't have any chairs in there. Nobody else working now. If I put 3 or 4 chairs in there, they're paying me rent. Then if I go out and get another business and they're doing it while I'm asleep, my business is still making money.
What if you had a person who is washing the hair? And somebody, you know what I'm saying, doing the other simple stuff. Like you got folk, you know, back in the days, my mom used to do hair, and she used to tell me about some people like book 2-3 clients at the same time. Women used to hate that. So what if you got 2-3 people coming in at the same time? However, you got somebody to wash the hair. You got somebody over here, you got a shampoo hair person.
Right.
You got a person over here to do a little something else. And then they get to your chair.
Right.
And that's when you style them up and got them all smooth and do the cuts.
Right.
You can do more
but
faster.
You
got to give up a little money.
You give up also what? Some control.
Yeah.
And that's what it come down to. It's not
control.
No, and that's the same way. That's the same way relationship, man. It's that thing about not wanting to give up control. That's period. In a relationship, guess what? When it's all about me, that's fine. I control everything. But then once I get into a relationship with somebody, now I got to give up some of that control in order to even have that power. That's what. That's the whole purpose of. That's what a lot of people don't realize. When a lot of people go to college, man, they go to these big Ivy League schools. They read this book called The Prince, and now I'll talk about that. About this guy named Machiavelli, and that's what he talks about: giving up part control in order to have one people, rule everything. That's kind of like what America's on. That's what a republic is.
Right.
We think it's a democracy, but it's really a republic.
It's not.
If you read, it's a republic.
Right.
Republic, that's what they're saying. So all these people come together and say, "Hey, we all got power. We're gonna give up part of our power to have one person being control, but we gotta kind of like the powers behind the power." And that's kind of how it is, man. You give up part of your power in order for to have this relationship. It's stronger because it's 2 of us. You know what I'm saying? So you give it that. It's like you in here. If it was just your thing, it's different. But see, now you say, "Hey, I'm gonna let Warner have a little bit of this."
You better.
Because now it's not just my opinion. It's, hey, we running back and forth. Hey, I got my thing, you got your thing, and we pulling from each other. And it's better because I got somebody else. So me, once I get our information, my energy. So I got a little energy. You got an energy. We pulling back and forward, man. You know what I'm saying?
Me by myself, I'm a hot 30 minutes, and I'm ready to quit talking. I done ran out of water. I'm done. Add you in, we can go hours up in here, just back and forth. Like you said, I try to tell people all the time, it's not just a cliche. Teamwork make the dream work. It is real. Right. So having the right people around and being respectful of them, give them that power they want, and expect them to utilize it properly. Right. I don't have to stand over your head. Once I know you know what you're doing, let me give it to you. Right. Because guess what? I saw it this way. And I showed you what I saw. You might see a little bit further out. You might have a wider scope. Right. So each one teaching one. Right. And allowing that other mind to take hold and develop is strategic in nature. And that's why I say billionaires have wives and husbands and broke people.
It's stability, man.
Have independence.
Right. Well, it's you're empowering. So you give up power, but you actually empower somebody else. I'm taking a little of my power. It's a story in the Bible with Moses when he was getting wore out. Millions of people every day he just dispensing judgment to everybody. They said he'd be on the thing from the morning to night. And his father-in-law came in and said, "Moses, man, you wearing yourself out. You need some help." He said, "You need to get some more people to help you." Yeah. He said, "You need to pick some people, man, who can help you do these things." And they do all the small things and the little ones. In the greatest cases, they bring to you. That's the same kind of government we have now. And say Moses said, God said he said, what I'm gonna do, God? God said, I'm gonna take some of the glory that I put on you, and I'm gonna put it on all these little guys to help you. And they, then they kind of got, a little while after a while.
But I was about to say,
they got a while.
He also set a gang of people on fire.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, this story sounds familiar.
He had to take them on down. He had to
Didn't we set some folks on fire too because they was acting fool?
Well, he dropped them down straight to hell. He Bible said he gonna go straight there. They went straight there. He said, I'm gonna hold the ground, and they went straight there. They didn't bypass. They didn't pass go. They went right
straight to hell with y'all.
They went straight down there. But anyway, I'm saying, because they got Arab.
But again, though, and then knowing and believing is different.
Right.
See, a lot of people don't, and I'm going to give that story though, but a lot of people don't know that when God shows you certain things, you might have a blip of faith.
Yeah.
You might get a touch of the miraculous. But when you get that miraculous, that oh Lord, hey, you real.
Yeah.
Oh, for real.
Yeah.
And you know it.
Yeah.
It's way different.
Right?
That's why they were straight to hell.
Yeah.
I just parted the Red Sea for you heathens.
Yeah.
And y'all out here making gold calves.
Yeah.
Telling me you don't like manna.
Yeah.
You want some meats.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's so deep, man. That's so much. But it's about it's that mentality, man. Mentality is so, and we don't. That being aware of. A lot of times we with people, man, we mad and we fussing about it. But I'm like, hey, find out what's underneath it, man. Where that mentality come from? Where is they genesis? Hey, when you start thinking like that, what did you? I'll tell you another experience I had in second grade kids, man. I'm telling you, second grade kids, Vicksburg, Mississippi. Wow. This little girl was out there, man, and this little boy, she was dancing, man, and they so little. And she was dancing and she was twerking, man. She was dancing so hard that she bust her pants. This little boy took his money out of his pants and started throwing money on her. They in the second grade. And I was like, all I could say was, who are raising y'all? Who are raising these kids, man? And it bothered me so bad. I was like, I used to tell my wife, I said, baby, I'd be heartbroken when I come out because these are second graders, man. Dude. Second graders. I'm talking about, and what happened, I'm going to tell you what happened. We talk about the Genesis, right? Mm-hmm. So later on, a couple weeks later, I'm outside and they're having a little get-together for the kids. And his mama and her little daughter come out and their little son out there, he filming. And the little girl out there dancing, twerking, breaking. She's like, go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Show them, baby, film that. Man. And so the little brother is filming. He about, 15 to 16. And she like, oh, look at my girl. Look how she. And I was like, there we go.
Genesis.
That's the Genesis, man. And where did that, and so not mad at them, where did that come from, Mama? Why do you think that it's okay for that?
Fan grandmama.
It's, we can't sit here and fuss about it. My thing is never about, hey, man, just talk about them down. It's like, hey, do you understand that this is, and so when she gets that way and some little man or some little older guy comes in and see her that way, and then he comes and gives her something to this, and next thing you know, she got a little baby, and then I'm mad now because she's pregnant at 13 or 12, but I said this was okay. You know what I'm saying? And so that's that thing, man, that we have to, because he used to break my heart. I used to go to a point where I would have to go and get me a Wendy's Freeze, man, some kind of thing.
Wendy's Freeze, not a bottle of vodka.
Man, I had to get me something. You couldn't drink. But that's, I'm talking just so I could, but I realized, because my kids grew up in this school, this magnet school. And when you go to that school down there, the first day of school, he got a little boy in a suit. And he's like, how you doing, Mr. Buxton? And he opened the door. Yeah. And so my kids grew up in a school like this. Not a private school, it's a magnet school. So then I'm translated to this other school. And I told my wife, I said, baby, I don't know what school our kids went to, but this is a real school here. I said, these kids, but guess what? Every day, man, I would see parents come up there, like talking about the booming music. Music booming loud. The ladies in house dresses. You know what I'm saying? Crush still on their mouth, man, and they would come in there and they would go off on us and cuss the kids out, man. And they booming early in the morning, 7 a.m. They got 4 kids in the car, and you wonder why the children, because we're a product, man, of our environment.
I agree, and then that's why I chastise. Yeah. It's because if nobody's gonna tell us we wrong, if nobody's going to say anything about our behavior, everybody's going to blame the white man, the light-skinned man. They done oppressed us. All I hear is 400 years of slavery. All I hear is they still doing it to us. All I hear is complain about them. But ain't nobody saying nothing about that. Right. That right there. Right. See, we can talk crazy all day long. Mm-hmm. But let's be real. Yeah. Our independence has us separated. That's one of the reasons why none of us work together very well in our community, why we don't have no manufacturing companies that are employing thousands of us, even though we work at manufacturing companies. 90% of us, damn near. So what I'm looking at is it's a easy way to throw shade and complain about somebody else. But Lord forbid we say something about this damn stuff we doing, how we raising our kids, booming in the system, like you said. Dude, I quit working with the kids, and it's so depressing because when you're out here trying to date, and this is like not a few years ago because I forgot I was married. This is probably about 15 years ago. Okay. I'm out there in the dating world, and the mother of 2 daughters is in the car with me, and I'm having a couple drinks, so she's driving. She's playing the music because, I say the driver get to pick the music. Nastiest music in the world. Daughters is in the back seat singing. And I'm sitting over here like, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? I'm at, what am I doing? She hot, but I'm still like, what am I doing? And I'm sitting over there the whole time thinking, you mess around to get this girl pregnant, your life is shot. That's what I'm thinking in that car. And I'm like, that's the dating pool though, sir. It's no accountability, nobody. And if I had said something, that date is over. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, we don't have anybody telling us we wrong. We don't have nobody. It's always what it is. Like you said, they over there taking pictures and filming the twerking of the children. They need chastisement. I'm sorry. So I use my shovel of chastisement to put these seeds in these folks' heads because right now, who are your kids gonna date, sir?
It's a different, and then we wonder why they date different. And it's not, and then it's a different level when you get to the other things. Then you get people who are, like my one of my sisters, I was talking to her about it. She was saying like all the guys she date, who have a degree, the guys who, they think their guys get the women because I'm not, because I have a degree. Hey, you're gonna have sex with me on the first night because it's none of us here. You should be privileged to have sex with me when we date. And so
we sick on every side.
So that's this thing. And so it's not, and I date, and not like I said, and I actually deal with people who are on those levels or think that because they have these certain things that they're owed this, or they're a single black man. They can get whatever. And so we have to really take time, man, and choose. And really we have to. But I'm not saying. But again, guess what? Hey, you ask somebody, they can say, "Hey, I'm lonely. I'm just lonely. I just need to be with somebody right now," and that's real. And so I got to deal with all that. And so it's easy to say it. It's easy for me to sit here as a married man and tell you all these different things. But guess what? In reality, when it get to be 9 to 10 o'clock at night, sometimes people just want to, they want somebody in there with them, but they don't want to be lonely. They're tired of that. And so we got to deal with all those things, man, because there's so many different variables in the world. And so I tell people this about the movie by Halle Berry. I said, people don't understand, man, there's so much depth in that movie, man. It is. It's a lot of depth in that movie with her. And I didn't even like the movie, but the fact what she was saying, she wanted to feel good at that moment. The reason why is because all this stuff was going on. We go back to basic human nature. Sex is on the basic part of that. Security and sex. She's saying, hey, I don't care. And guess what? I look at them recover all the time. I have people there. They know that person might have some kind of venereal disease or some kind of sickness.
What?
Yes, but guess what they say? At the moment, they just want to have it. This person it's got some venereal. Man, I can tell you a million stories about this.
What?
Stuff. Yes.
Well, we're gonna hold off on the millions of stories until we're gonna go back. We're going to take another bill payment moment for a hot second. And we're going to come back and find out what? Wait a minute. I thought that was the deal breaker part where we say, hey, you know what? I'm a pass. But clearly not. So we're going to take a short one. We're going to come back and find out more about that in just a moment.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
Welcome back for, I'm assuming this might be the closing of this journey into mental health on this special edition of the Awdid. Again, we are here at We Believe Digital Studios, Jackson, Mississippi on Livingston Road. If you guys need any media assistance, whether that be a podcast, do some commercials, or have us come out and film your shoot, give us a call, 1-800-492-5186. Again, that is 1-800-492-5186. Now, you know me, we got to get right back on this one here, man. we got to get back onto this now. What were you saying, sir?
Well, I was talking about, like, even in addiction, man, the basic needs, and we have a lot of people there, man. They end up, being a sexual relationship people with knowing that they might have some kind of disease, a venereal disease. Yeah,
that's the
and
wow.
Not even thinking about, because at the time they just want to feel something. That's why I talk about that Halle Berry thing is on that movie, man. Is that when people are really down and they don't care, that's one of the first things they do is try to do. And then what happens, like I said, you put into that a lot of times the people who they have like their co-occurring, so they got some kind of mental health, and those things are passed on. They got some kind of disease, and they also have addiction. All of those things are being passed on because they're making these decisions impulsively. Wow! And when they make impulsive decisions, you end up with all these other things just being transferred as well.
Question. Mm-hmm. This is a real question. I don't know. This is something I've been thinking. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Maybe you can help me with this one. All right. So say, and I'm a big DNA person. I think the fact that people tell me I act like my father, and he was killed when I was 9, says that a lot of those traits are passed through in your DNA. So healing. Let's talk healing. Let's say if a person goes through traumatic experiences young, but then they heal, and their spouse goes through it, but heals. Now you got two healed individuals with the healed understandings, more likely to have a child that's not affected by the traumas.
Trauma is only passed down when you relate it, and the trauma is different from like addiction. Now, addiction is not trauma. Right. It is a form of trauma, but it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Maybe I should rephrase it again. Say you remember? Have you ever seen a older couple with a kid? And that kid seems so much laid back than the rest of the kids. Yeah. They just like smart. They real intelligent. Their vocabulary is like wow. Mm-hmm. And I think that comes from the parents accumulating all that knowledge over the years, and they've passed it on to the kid at an older age, compared to having kids real young, when you don't know anything. Right.
It's environment, man. Okay. Environment has changed. So I got a younger environment. My kids have less knowledge, so I'm passing on less knowledge to my children. I don't come and say, so I'm older. I've accumulated knowledge, so I'm passing on deeper knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So my kids are getting that knowledge. And also I look at the world different.
So what do you think about that being the case when we look at history and they would always team a man up with a younger woman? It's the wise man, younger woman.
The reason they did it back in like a lot of those days is because, for a lady to have many kids, they start having children younger so that they could have it. The man seed was still
But then it also make them smarter too.
Yeah, it could be more smarter, but then he had more experience. You know, a lot of times the male died, but by the time he died, he was able to. He had more. He was able to
was
offer,
looking at the brain part though.
Yeah, the brain. It makes sense. Like I said, I don't know a lot about that part, but I know it makes sense as far as him having more to be able to provide for a child. Because you think about a lot of time, a guy at that age hadn't accumulated anything, but he had more to offer the lady.
Yeah.
You know, at that age. So I'm going to have these kids for me. At least I got something to offer for you. I got a house. I've had time to own a house. I've owned some things. And now I can, I can provide for you in a better way. That's what a lady, most of the time, they're looking for somebody, to offer provision.
I'm still going back to caveman more so than man with a house.
Yeah. But I don't think in caveman
indigenous.
Times, but I don't think they were, I don't think they was as old in caveman time.
Well, I'm not thinking so much. Okay, I said caveman. Let's go back
pre
European in America.
Yeah.
Native Americans, I don't really see them having like, let me pass down my hut to the kids.
They still had more though. They had skills they learned.
But that's what I'm saying.
They were hunters.
I'm talking about the hunting skills.
But they was because age always brings better.
Farming.
Because it takes so many years to become an expert at anything. It doesn't matter where you is. So
that's what I'm looking at more so. Is when I look at the ability to pass down knowledge and wisdom.
But it's providing as well too.
So I looked at it like that, and here's me because I'm that person, and I looked at the older women in the tribe as young men. Look at yourself real. As a young man, real young, I was attracted to older women. I was really attracted to older women. So what I'm looking at is what I was looking at is, and this is before we got these books and told us how we supposed to live. So I'm talking about it from a standpoint of, research and development.
Okay.
So I go back to say a native tribe, right? The older men, younger women, passing the knowledge on to the younger kids. That's the way we're gonna do it. And then I'm also saying, well, how do these men that are younger deal with that? Because none of the young ladies your age are available. And I thought, well, what about the older women? What if the older women were bringing the boys up to where, or young men up to where they knew how to take care of a woman? So when they became grown men and chose wives, they knew how to treat them and how to, take care of them because they had been trained by the older women. And
if it's in a village, type way, maybe.
It just seems to me the nature of things.
It could have been. Like I said, I don't know about it, but I know that they're more than likely those men realize that, hey, in order for me to get a wife, I need to have a certain amount of skills. I need to know certain things. And so I'm realizing that the women are chose. So at that time, that's when I'm still getting that boy out of me. I'm learning how to get that part out of me and become a man so that I can have a wife.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And those skills a lot of times were taught, I think, not only by the men, but also by the older women.
The way I am with my wife, man, I learned from my mom. My mom taught me how to, be with a woman, and how to treat a woman. And also,
she didn't teach you how to be with no woman.
Yeah,
she taught you how to treat a woman.
She told me how to talk to
opening doors.
Not be with. I'm not talking myself. My mind is a different kind of mind. I'm not thinking.
That's why I'm in therapy.
Yeah,
and you're in therapy.
When I say it is not sexual talk, but I'm saying, but she taught me. My mama taught me a lot, and having older sisters, man, they taught me. They taught me a lot about how things you're supposed to treat a woman, man. Talk to a woman.
I got a gang of cousins, and that's why I said when you was talking about a young girl twerking, that's like not my family.
Yeah,
we was shunned on that there.
They turned it back on you.
Still shunned on that right now. As a matter of fact,
but you know what, man? That's a missing thing because the independence. When I'm so focused on myself, man, then my tribe, my village, they fail, man. They fall because it's no one doing the upkeep. No one is making sure that those things are done. No one is talking to the young men.
In the independent situation, we don't have an upkeeper.
Ain't nobody keeping the village, man.
Ain't nobody.
Nobody's keeping the community. No one's taking care of the community because I'm so focused on having me. And so when I do that, man, we die, man. And that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? When me, I focus on me, we always die, man. We always die. And so and that's what happens because no one wants to reach back and teach anybody else. Hey, I'm a black person that can swim. So I ain't teaching nobody else because I want to be that guy that I can swim, but nobody else can swim. Nobody in your family can swim. Man. You know why all those us can swim, man? Everybody in my family can swim because my mama could swim. She's like, I want all my kids to know how to swim. Now she's learning
My
how to
mama
swim.
did that too.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's
Yeah.
how you do it, man. You don't sit there and just get it for yourself, man. You make sure
pass my weaknesses on to the next generation.
Pass it on there. Cause you know what they taught? Because we taught. You know, I remember being taught this when I was growing up. You don't teach nobody everything you know, man. Because then they'll take it over your head. We had a lot of talk like that, man. Don't let nobody know all your stuff. Don't teach everybody everything. They'll take. Because guess what? You know what? They said it from a point of somebody did it to them, and so this is what I pass on.
Man, you said so much right then because it's almost like I said something. Did you watch my video this morning?
No, I didn't.
But they always try to tell you, don't tell people all your business. Don't get them.
Don't teach nobody nothing.
Truth sets you free.
They'll take it in there.
They'll take it in there still. I will give you good ideas and see what you do with it.
Right.
And this is what I've noticed. I give you good ideas, you ain't gonna do shit with it. You just want some more.
It's sowing and reaping, man. If I give out of a point of love, I gotta believe that God's gonna take care of me, man. I'm gonna get that back. I can't worry about it if you don't do right about it, man. I'm gonna do right, man, about you, because everybody, man, we've been so traumatized over time, and a lot of times when your family, your parents telling you that, that's because that's happened to them. Granddaddy can't teach me nothing. He can't give me no money, but he can say, "Hey, don't let nobody gyp you." You know what I'm saying? And you like, Daddy, what gyp mean? Don't let nobody take advantage of you, son. Now he ain't gonna tell me nothing about the world, how to treat my wife, nothing. He gonna say, "Hey, don't let the man gyp you. Watch out for these people. Watch out for that person." Don't like the guy said, "Hey man, you don't love no girl," because that's what he knew. Somebody had broke his heart, so all he can know is say, "Hey, you don't love no women, man. Take care of your kids though." So he thinking he giving the best to him. He giving the best advice that he has. And so that's why I'm passing on to you. And we don't realize, man, but that might be the best he has. You know what I'm saying? And we don't, but we're in a place, man, where we have so much bad information. We have been so traumatized that he ain't doing it to hurt you. He doing it because he think he helping you. Because his daddy might have had some kids, guess what? And he ain't love them. He's like, "Hey, man, I needed love. My dad didn't give me no love. So when I grow up, all I can do is love my kids. I ain't learned about I need to love my wife or love my girl or make her a wife."
Or they end up loving nothing but stuff and money, which I see so many people teaching their kids now is get that bag.
Get that bag, man.
Secure
the bag. And guess what happened when you secure the bag, man? You realize the bag got holes in it, man. You realize that the bag has no security. Guess what? You got a secure bag, but you have no security, man. And because guess what? Why is Tom Brady said when he won the Super Bowl, man, is this all? Is this it? So now I lost my whole family, my marriage, because now I'm getting all these things, but I gotta keep on going back. I lost my family because I won't quit, because I'm saying, hey, or I got this guy who like him in his great bodybuilder, I said names, I don't want to know him. I might see him one day. He was like, his wife wanted kids, man, but he kept on going back into bodybuilding until it passed her prime, and they had to get a divorce, man, because he was like, hey, I need that fame though. I need the people to holler my name. And so he gave all
narcissistic.
Yeah, he got this beautiful house. You know what I'm saying? But he don't have nothing, man.
Well, man,
that's life, man.
That's the poison, I think, in the people right now. And and as much as we love these things, they create so much what you call
false narratives,
covetousness.
Yeah.
Of what
covetousness, yeah.
Covet. You desiring everybody else's life. You desiring everybody else's stuff. And the hidden commandment that nobody read because nobody could figure out what is that in it. Well, that is what we've been doing so frequently now, looking at everybody else's life and wanting that, and not even knowing, like you said, you'll have a field of weeds and roaches. And the jewel is in your hand.
Got it all on, man.
And the thing you don't want to accept is, in order to maintain that jewel, you have to learn to maintain this field.
Right.
And it's not something you can't do.
Right.
It's just work.
Just work.
That's
what do we have during COVID? Everything you needed.
I had everything I needed.
And so when COVID was over, we started thinking now we need all these things again. We had COVID, man. We had everything we needed right there. As soon as COVID was over, man. As soon as everything was over, man, we went back to thinking we need all these things now. I need to be doing these things to make myself happy. And what happened is that it's this hopelessness that you get, and that's why suicide is so up in teenagers, because they're thinking, man, hey, I gotta have all these things in order to make myself happy. And what happened when they get these things, man? That's why you got all these people, man, that You look at, man, Anthony Bourdain, man. I love Anthony Bourdain, man.
Going
and seeing all these things,
Yeah.
having these intelligent conversations, cooking, man, going all over the world and killed himself. Because guess what? He just couldn't. He would never have it, man. Married a girl, was a movie star, was his wife, man. Went to this other lady, and all that thing he was looking for, this happiness, man. And still.
And you really
let you know, man.
And I think we live so much on social media.
Yeah.
We fake happy 365 days a year.
Yeah.
That's why the audit exists. I mean, that's why the journey into mental health exists.
Yeah.
Is because I need to tell people there's no 365 days of damn happy.
Yeah.
We need to really deal with this. Ellen's DJ guy.
Yeah.
You couldn't have told me.
Twitch, yeah.
You couldn't have told me.
Yeah.
You couldn't have told me that smiling, dancing, happy family guy was gonna kill himself. Yeah. You couldn't have told me that. And so that's why I say we got to take these masks off. Right. We got to get out here and get real with each other. And the most important thing is I think we got to start accepting the fact that we all went through the crack years. We all are broken.
Yeah.
There is not one of us out here fixed.
Yeah.
Ain't one of us out here that didn't go through them crack years, whether it was on TV, VCR, or in the house, or across the street, down the street.
Right.
We all went through it, and that was a mental impression that broke trust.
Yeah.
It broke up families. It broke up relationship, idea of relationship, and then it brought us into a whole nother level of sexual immorality. And that's what I look at is the sexual immorality that came out of the drug years.
Yeah.
It didn't just, it wasn't something where we could say our parents and them, oh, they did it too.
Yeah.
We didn't see it.
Right.
They didn't see it. It wasn't on TV then.
Right.
They had 9 o'clock for nasty. We 99.9% of the time nasty. So what we talking about is they did it in the past and ain't nothing new. Shut up. Your kids are seeing the nastiest of videos that you were kept from.
Yeah.
So now we broken as we can be selves. We saw it. The kids, they need to hurry up and grow up. What you think about that when you hear a parent say, they gonna learn it anyway?
Damaging them, man. We're not preparing, man. And it's a job to prepare your kids, man, protect them. You know, not to insulate them, but to teach them. We're supposed to teach our kids, man. And we lazy, man. We're lazy with the teaching. We're lazy because, and then it's nobody's fault but yours. Now, like I said, I'm always bringing stuff back to the biblical thing. You know, God said you're the priest of the household. That's your job to instruct, man, to put in your child, to put in your thing. You're supposed to make sure, man, that they have everything that they need, you know, knowledge-wise, that you can give them.
Right.
So they prepare. Now, at the end of the day, they go out and make their own decisions based with what you've given them. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to do that, man. We're supposed to help our children understand and learn, hey, this is what's going on. Not saying I tell you everything I did. Hey, this is what's out there. This is what's out there. This is what's looking for you. This is what's waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? And not to be scared, but just to be aware. It's like, wait, if I'm sending my kids out there and I know it's a danger outside, I'm like, hey, man, when you go outside, it's a hole down there in the ground. When you go out, man, that fence, it ain't been fixed. You know what I'm saying? Farmer Brown didn't fix his fence.
Right.
So you go out there, it's rusty. So make sure you get out there. You had your tetanus shot, son, but you're ready. You know what I'm saying? You get through, man. You know what I'm saying? There's some roaches out there. Here's some Raid. Raid, you know what I'm saying? Help your mouth out. Get ready so that you're able to go out there and do those things you do. You know what I'm saying? My dad taught me a couple moves and everything I need to do when I go out there. You know what I'm saying? Bob to the left, son. Use your right. You know what I'm saying? My daddy has prepared me and my mama has taught me. You know what I'm saying? My mama taught me when I was growing up, man. She taught us all how to cook. We all can cook. We all can, you know, we all do. We all can do those things. We can sew a little bit. We can do a little bit of all that stuff because she prepared us so that we'll never be dependent on anybody. But she also taught us the importance of having friends and being friends and having groups and things like that, man. Because my mama, not by her just saying she had those things. I watched her. Right. You know, I watched her be a good friend.
Learn by example.
Learn by that, man. And we got to take the emphasis off ourselves, man. And I think that's the biggest thing that, you know, that the media and America teaches us is that we find by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's what messes us up, man.
It is.
You know, we need to be in a family. It's not about giving my son a car on his 16th birthday. That's not what it's about. You know what I'm saying? That's what people think now is that, hey, I need to give my kid I need to have a wedding and it need to be this. Because I had a lot of friends, man, that had like ridiculous weddings, man, and they was divorced in a couple of years, man, 2 or 3 years, because they came in financially, struck, man. They had a $30,000 wedding, they got a $10,000 wedding ring, and I'm saying because you're coming in broke, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, we could do this all day, but we can't because the time does run out, and we have to find a place to stop. So I'm gonna say this is probably gonna be what we're gonna wrap him on up.
Sounds good, man.
I think we touched a lot of stuff today. Hit a lot of topics. Anything you thinking you might want to mention that you didn't?
Well, one of the things I would like to talk about is grief, man. Is that it's like I said during this time of year.
Yeah.
We talk about people who have lost family, man. One of the ways I talk about grief is that you honor that person, man. When you're going through those things, when if you need to cry, you cry, but honor them. Think about things that I'm doing. So with drinking, really honor them. You know what I'm saying? With smoking weed right now, really honor them. Honor them. Think about it. Tell your family members, tell your son, your daughter, your mama. Y'all talk about some things that they all should do. You know what I'm saying? And also, tell people about it. That's how you share it.
Yeah.
And so, one of the ways you do it, and take them with you. Hey, like to ride and go see the things, see the park. Let's go to the park, man, and just think about some times that we had together. So use that as a time for grieving. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the great ways to grieve people you care about. And when I'm doing things, say, hey, with that honor them. What would they say? If my brother down there, something happened to me, I was like, man, I don't want you down here moping. I want you to go out and say, man, I'll kick you in the behind, man. I want you to go out there, man, and, hey, do some things that I would like to do, man.
Yeah.
Go out there and have your steak dinner, man. Go out there and,
Steak.
Yeah.
I forgot.
You got a steak? Okay.
I just remember they got a steak I need to get
Yeah.
out of the freezer. I didn't have a chance to cook it because the weather was not the right weather for me. But you just remind me, I got a cowboy steak in the freezer, man.
Yeah? Okay.
Man, I'm about
Cowboy
ribeye. I'm about to put the smoke on it, man.
That's a beautiful thing. That's my favorite thing in the world, man.
Man.
Steak, man. Yeah, but man. So that's the one thing about is grieving, man.
Yeah.
And write it down, man. Write some things down. Write it down. If you're mad, you're upset, you're hurt, get those things out. Don't let them build up, man. So that's a good way to grieve. And allow yourself to do it, whatever way it takes to grieve.
Especially during these holidays, it's extremely important during the holidays to make sure you stay around some people who care about you.
Yeah.
Don't get too alone and get your mind gone, especially if you got alcohol in the building. Yes. I learned that nothing's worse than grieving with alcohol by yourself.
You have a tendency, they always say you have a tendency to do more of those things, so you need to pull back from those things like that, because those things will grow, and you can end up with an addiction out of a death.
Yeah, man, and I'm glad you said that part right there. You can end up with an addiction after a death. That is so damn true. Yeah. A lot of times, and self-included, I'll get ready to close on this one. Self-included, brother died. You know how you say, I'll never do this? I'll never do that? Right. Shit. Brother died, did all that. So definitely people, I didn't bring this journey into mental health and bring my therapist out here to work with me because this is a joke and it's funny. I brought it out because I made it to a point where I realized I need therapy. And if somebody like me, big 265, will whoop you kind of dude, has bad enough days to say, hey, I don't want to give up on life. I don't want to go out of here sad because of a heartbreak or a death. When they have people available to help you, I don't want to go out like that. So consciously, I chose to seek help. And as I did that, I thought, let me share that help with y'all. Let me not just be selfishly helping me and then go out here in the world and say, I'm better. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Let me go out here and let me share this with everybody else, and to find out that this is one of the things Warner wanted to do too. Yeah. Say, look at my God, how my God be working and bringing people together, and then had that man move all the way from Vicksburg up here to around the corner over here in Canton, because God sees the importance of what we're trying to do too, and I'm not gonna disregard that. So, a journey into mental health. Pertis Williams, Warner Buxton. Hey, Warner, before we get out of here, tell them folks how to get in touch with you, man.
Yeah, ThriveWorks.com. You can look for my name. I'm up under that. And also any of the community mental health. I always push that because that's why I work at my regular job. If you're having some issues, they have a scaling system. So if you don't have the income to do it, they got a scaling system. They have grants. So you can always get some kind of mental health, man, if you need it. They have we got a number that I wanted to put on there, like the crisis line. So you ever want anything, any kind of mental health crisis line, I don't have it where or maybe we can put it in the description.
Next
yeah,
time.
so we can have that. So it's always somewhere where you at. So if you are in it and somebody else, in the worst case scenario, you call your 911 and go to the hospital and they can get you some mental help. But please don't suffer alone and don't watch your family members suffer.
Yeah.
That's so important.
And we want to thank you again for joining us today, Warner and I, here at the Journey of Mental Health. Hey, I hate to see you go, but I know we're getting ready to bring in a new year. Oh, yeah. Happy 2024, man.
Well, thank you, man.
You know, let us not forget we are bringing in a new year, and this is going to be the last show before the new year comes in, look like. Yeah. Unless we just feel like doing another one, because we can.
Yeah.
You know, hey, these people need it.
Yeah.
We can bring it to them. So, and to thank God again for that opportunity to be able to bring this to you guys as frequently as we see fit. So, this is the longest exit ever. So, hey, it's been real. It's been wonderful. And we will see you guys next time on the Journey into Mental Health with Pertis Williams and Warner Buxton.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great rest of the day and Happy New Year.
Have a new year.